Been discussing yesterday and today how we're gonna combine the diverse nature of all the participants and the brilliant work that all of them do in the context. And we come up with an idea. So what if we discuss future humans? And what are the components of the thinking and the work of all of these brilliant people that contributes to this future that we create? Before we start, I just wanted to, all of you introduce yourself briefly. Let's start with Rasmus.
Sure, I can start. I'm Rasmus. My background is in machine learning research. I started Merantix, which is a venture studio building AI-first companies. We've built companies in like breast cancer screening, protein materials optimization, computer vision and manufacturing, fertility, basically trying to apply AI there. We've also done quite a bit for the ecosystem, so we run the largest co-working space for AI in Europe and involved in like AI policy making, which is also quite an active topic at the moment.
You just mentioned 3 full-time jobs, yeah?
Yeah, sleep little, I guess, is the trick.
Okay, great. Markus, please.
Yeah, I'm Markus Pflitsch. I'm a quantum physicist by education, worked at CERN in Geneva, then spent 20 years in corporate finance, banking, and then founded Terra Quantum, which commercializes quantum tech. Terra Quantum does quantum as a service. So we develop quantum software to speed up performance, and we provide cybersecurity, quantum secured protocols, and spend a lot of time on exploring the future of AI.
Perfect, yeah. For me, AI today is so futuristic, but like the future of the future, well, let's see how it goes. Yeah, Reenie, please.
Yeah, so Reenie McCarthy. I came from the investment world with Morningside, investing in early stage biotech companies. And then I joined as CEO of Stealth BioTherapeutics, where we're developing mitochondrial targeted medicines to address diseases of aging as well as some rare diseases using AI.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, well, the first question is, we have more friends joining us. The first question is obviously about AI and relation between AI and human intelligence as well. So I invest in longevity technologies, and 80% of our portfolio companies use artificial intelligence. And the common question I get from 9 out of 10 of my friends, who will win in the future? Artificial intelligence or the human intelligence? And so the question to all of you, and I suggest we can start with Rasmus, is how are we going to be integrated with AI in the future? Is it going to be like the huge conflict, or we coexist? And if yes, it's going to be invasive or non-invasive, right?
So I'm actually quite optimistic. I don't think AI will win. I think we will win. I think it's a bit like asking the question, like, does the computer win or the internet against us? Like, I think so far we are still in a pretty good position. And so similarly, I think we will use AI as a tool for many applications where we'll just perform much better than what we do. For example, we have one company in the breast cancer screening space. You know, a doctor misses 1 in 5 cancers. Our AI misses much less. And so it's just a matter of time that we integrate these tools, these co-pilots that supercharge what we do. And ultimately, a lot what we do, if you think about our week, like I sometimes look at my calendar, like what I do during the week, there's a lot of like talking, so speech to text. There's a lot of like, making slides, writing emails. Like a lot of that, LLMs are already pretty good at. So it's just a matter of time when this all gets integrated into the business world. And that's what people are working right now on these applications. And then I think it will fundamentally transform our way of working. And it will also not all need to be integrated with the human. So sometimes also will be your AI communicating with my AI, figuring out the problem, negotiating things.
Coffee, yeah.
And we can have coffee. But obviously there's also more futuristic integrations, machine brain interfaces and these kind of things. But yeah, even without that, I think will supercharges our life, and it will be very exciting.
Perfect, thank you. Markus, please.
Well, yeah, from a quantum perspective, I think, how close can we come with AI towards a real human being or towards real life? I think very close with quantum, right? I mean, it was the Nobel Prize winner Richard P. Feynman who once said, nature is quantum. So if we want to simulate nature, we better do it on a quantum machine. Yeah, and now we have these machines. Yeah, and I think this is, this opens a whole new door. First of all, quantum computing will show an exponential speed up in compute power. The exponential function will sooner or later overtake everything, right? So therefore, that's one thing where we will see a dramatic speed up in performance of AI if we run it on a quantum computer. And then think about the human brain. This is a quantum machine, right? And we build it now, and the machines we build will be outperforming the human brain very soon. And what is, I think, decisive and different, the new perspective of quantum on Gen AI. Classical AI is deterministic, right? It's pattern recognition based on massive data predicted in the future in a deterministic way. But that's not how the human brain works. Creativity comes from non-deterministic creative things, right? And the single event corrector behind the quantum computer is non-deterministic, non-causal, non-local. So that, I think, comes pretty close to what we think kind of creativity and intelligence really is about. So therefore, I think, if you are excited about AI, you should be super excited about
quantum AI.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think what strikes me is that we're going to be able to solve the problems that we don't understand, right? So for example, like 90% of deaths after the age of 50 happens out of 4 diseases: cancer, heart disease, diabetes and metabolic, and neurodegenerative diseases. And since not a lot of people in the world statistically face the neurodegenerative degradation in the age of 70 or 80, because we haven't been living so long, today we still don't know what we don't know about dementia, Alzheimer as well. So that's the opportunity for us to think about something that we don't know what we don't know. And I think this is great. Yeah, Reenie, please.
Yeah, so we're targeting diseases of aging looking at mitochondria, which are one of the original exhibitors of quantum behavior. So there's a lot that we don't know. And from that perspective, AI is already enabling us to do what I think we need to do to treat diseases of aging and the aging process itself, which is to intervene earlier, before diseases get so critical that you're kind of treating an acute disease rather than this long chronic disease. So already in some of our programs, and this is very new technology within the past 3 to 5 years, we've been able to detect signals earlier in the disease trajectory where you can see enough separation early on to intervene, protect, and maybe even reverse aging processes that affect, in this case, retinal degradation. I think that'll be applicable to neuronal degradation, as well as diseases of cardiac dysfunction, to your point, metabolic dysfunction. But I think what quantum will allow us to do is then understand how the body reacts to all of that, not only to diagnose earlier, treat and intervene earlier, but then also monitor the effects of therapies. So I think it's a game changer, frankly, in the ability to treat long-standing chronic diseases at a time when you might actually be able to stop and reverse them.
Amazing. So future humans will be much more integrated with AI, right? We're gonna, using quantum AI, we're gonna solve the problems that we couldn't really understand today, and the medicine and healthcare of the future is gonna be much more personalized, right? It literally can be a solution for one patient, not for 8 billion people on the planet, and much more preventive, right?
I agree 100%. I mean, I think it could be much more preventive. I think it will give us the possibility of being much more personalized, especially with monitoring of care. But I also think that it's going to improve accessibility, because these tools become integrated in our daily lives, in our watches, in our phones. And so that really kind of pushes out to a broader group of people access to the best therapeutic interventions.
I agree. Markus?
Yeah, so I do agree. First, I mean, quantum will dramatically speed up the way to personalized medicine. It will dramatically speed up simulation, new drug discovery, that will, be dramatically faster. But then there's, of course, the long-term view as well. We'll be able to understand the human body on a much more granular level. We'll be able to create the perfect digital twin, and with the digital twin, you can do all sorts of things. You could even project it to the future, if your biological life might come to an end. So also here, I think we have short and midterm clear innovations, disruptive innovations. But then on the long run, if you ask, how will the relationship be between AI and human beings? I think in a way, all these disciplines merge. Yeah, they merge, and we do not know yet whether there is some coexistence of a simulated digital twin and your biological presence, right? So
this is very interesting.
crazy questions.
Yeah, I imagine like in a couple of decades from now, we all would need to do like a monthly backup of ourselves, right? So then it's the path to living longer, or some people say immortality. And it's going to be exciting. So, okay, the next question is, the world woke up autumn last year with ChatGPT. I mean, for some of the people in the audience, it was not a big surprise, but then almost 8 billion people on the planet discovered this wonderful tool literally in the course of a few weeks, right? And I'm, in investments for 20 years. I'm in technology and venture for the last seven years. And I was like, having a question to myself, how can I miss the development of such a powerful tool? And then it just pops up from nowhere. So, and we are here not to miss the next ChatGPT moment. So the question to all of you is, from your work, where do you see the next inflection point in your field, similar to the impact of ChatGPT to the world? Reenie, please.
So I think it's precipitating the need for medical intervention versus reacting to it. Right now, we react to symptoms, we react to how we're not feeling way too late. And even if we don't feel well, doctors won't necessarily see signs and symptoms of disease. I think that all of what we're doing with AI is going to allow us to predict our own health span in a much more meaningful way.
Can I just interrupt? This is my favorite topic. So people would always ask me, like, Sergey, are you guys advocating or working on immortality? And knowing what I know from investment in the field of biotech and longevity technologies, I think the future will very likely look like every 5 to 10 years, each of us would need to decide whether we use the next available technology to extend our lifespan. So it's not going to be just one day when you decide whether you want to be, living longer or forever. It's going to be a series of your own life extension decisions. And then, well, it obviously brings the question, what is the meaning of the life? But this is the subject for another at least 3 hours long panel.
And I would say, even without lifespan in the equation, health span is critically important.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And that's available now to us with these tools.
I agree.
And that's kind of the first frontier, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Markus, please.
Inflection
next
point.
ChatGPT moment. Yeah.
Yeah, inflection point, next ChatGPT moment in quantum. Well, first of all, quantum is happening already now, because a few people think that, there isn't yet any, usability of quantum these days. There is actually. So we, provide significant performance enhancements already today using hybrid technologies. We simulate the hardware as long as we wait for it, run the quantum software on it, and speed up simulations 200 times. We are 15 times better in optimization cases, 30% more efficiency in machine learning. That is what we can do with quantum already today, and most of the people don't know that yet, right? So that is already kind of some hidden evolution which happens, but the real inflection point will be, somebody will show up with a very performant native quantum chip, right? And all of a sudden you have an exponential speed up, and you wake up and you can, build a vaccine or you wake up, another topic, and everything of your data is leaked, right? Because it's hacked, which will happen actually with quantum computers. So yeah, I think we can expect some ChatGPT moments in quantum in the next few years.
So in the form of, introduction of the powerful chip with quantum technology?
When?
Quantum chip, so basically in the form of chips?
Yeah, I mean, the real game changer will be when the quantum chip is really scalable, right?
Into watches? That's
when it's ultimately in watches. I mean, we have today already QRNGs, so quantum random number generators, which are very important for a lot of things in quantum tech. We have them in mobile phones already integrated, right? So the thing is happening, but yeah, it's still some time until we have it in our watch. Yeah.
Yeah, people would always ask me like, how are we going to integrate with AI? And my answer is always, we already integrated with AI. We just use very inefficient interface to, my eyes, I use fingers to type, my ears to listen. So integration is already happening. The question is, what are the tools for that? Yeah, Rasmus.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the AI side, I think we had the ChatGPT moment, but it's a bit like going online first time. I think like just basically taking what's there now with ChatGPT and bringing it into all the applications. I think that's going to be the big case for the next 10 years where huge companies will be created, basically using what's there and applying that. So that's on the application side. That's a bit like more near term, but still crazy in terms of impact. I think the second thing is we're all talking about like white collar at the moment, and obviously, LLMs will have a big impact on professions like accounting, customer support, consultants, hopefully, lawyers, like all these jobs, but that's all white collar. I think the next step will be going back to kind of the blue collar jobs. And if we think about it, I mean, there's a
robotics.
There's a big lack of, labor in many areas. Many jobs are not very humane, where, I mean, here in this place, people are building like crazy. There's a lot of, obviously manufacturing happening everywhere in the world. And I think that's kind of, and also in the elderly space, like as people get elder, services, elderly care, like I think all these spaces, I think robotics will be the answer. And so far, robotics has been not that exciting here and there. Like, I mean, if you look at the robots, they're still kind of
it's
stiff.
pretty exotic, yeah.
It takes long to train them. And I think we'll use some of these techniques we've been using in LLMs to basically train robots and make them much more robust, teach them much quicker. And I think that will be super exciting in the next 10 years to see that coming to production, and then not just disrupting kind of white-collar work, but also blue-collar work.
Very interesting. Just a bit of personal story. When I started Longevity Vision Fund, I got so excited about robotic avatars. So I thought robotic avatars is like the future of our longer living. And what we discovered through just doing due diligence of robotic avatars company, it's just much easier to replicate ourselves in the virtual environment. I personally hate this idea, but do you have a view on that?
I think like similarly for the robots, how to train them, they're not training them in physical environments. Like if you have a robot walking around here for like a couple of years until they learn like a child, like it takes too long.
This place will not exist, yeah.
It will not maybe exist anymore, right? So what you need is basically something that you can also train in simulation. So there also, you train these robotic arms, mobile robots, and you train them much quicker in simulation. It's much more scalable. And so that's why I think, often it's good to think about if the physical world is too complex, let's put it in a simulation, let's do it there. We can compute it. I mean, with quantum computing, maybe even better.
Yeah.
And through that, get things to production earlier.
Interesting. The third and the final piece is about ethics and regulation. And so every time we talk about powerful technologies, there's always going to be a question, is it going to be equally distributed and available and accessible to everyone? In fact, I'm working in this beautiful biotech field, and I get so excited about scientific discoveries and technological breakthroughs. And my biggest concern that in 10, 20 years from now, we're going to be able we're going to be ready scientifically and technologically, but we're not going to be ready in terms of the ethics, society, and regulation. So in your work, do you face any ethical barriers today, or how do you see the evolution of this in the future, Reenie?
So for me, I think that when you're marrying, technology and AI, and it's getting out into personal devices, it becomes like the ultimate in democratization. So I think with healthcare kind of married to some of this, we're actually democratizing access to healthcare more than we're constraining it. Sure, there's the high-end personal medicine or, there's definitely high-end applications of it, but I think overall it's going to be more beneficial to the masses, frankly, than it is to the chosen few. I do think that data privacy is an area that is going to hamper our ability to mine as much as would be ideal from some of the tools that we have at our fingertips, right, with AI and with quantum. When we think about, electronic medical records, which are transcribed hopefully electronically now, but with multiple different interfaces and multiple privacy barriers, that's a treasure trove of information which could really help us understand human health and health span, and it could really help, AI and quantum computing understand it even better. That's where I see the biggest potential barrier is finding a way through the privacy rules, from my perspective.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Rasmus.
I think we have double standards there. I mean, we humans are so bad at things. I mean, it's like 1.5 million people die in car accidents every year. In like some our cases, like doctor missed so many cancers they could have seen from the data. And there's so many more examples. Like we're so error prone, and that will not change. So I think we should not expect the AI to be perfect, but rather kind of see where we are right now at the human, benchmark that properly. Also, the whole discussion around biases. Like we humans have terrible biases in all directions. True. AI just uncovers this now and allows us to control them. So it's not that the AI is bad. The AI is the first time we realize how bad the biases in our data, and we can now start fixing them. So I think, let's not have like higher standards for AI than for humans, or at least not orders of magnitude higher. And let's rather embrace and say, look, like there's now something we can control that is maybe deterministic, but sometimes that's also good. Like what's going on, you can test it, and then basically say, okay, like if it's good enough, and it doesn't have the bias we want, let's ship it. So I think that's more the discussion we have, and that's also a big problem right now we have in Europe. Like there's more people talking about regulation than sometimes building actual companies, and so let's rather build it, ship it, try it out. If it doesn't work well, let's fix it. Then having too much of a negative discussion. And I think every day we don't use AI. I mean, humans make mistakes, and I'm also not sure if that's very ethical. So
I agree, Markus.
Yeah, I tend, given my kind of what I've experienced so far, I think what humans are capable of doing, it's probably going to be done, right? So in terms of regulating it, I fear in a way that it will be too slow or not powerful enough to really regulate what's happening. Technical innovation in a way I think will happen. But I'm more concerned about, will it be democratized, right? Is there mass access to these new technologies? Well, one could argue, well, also the invention of the fire has been democratized, right? It's not kind of in an elite group, but with quantum computing, I see that if you don't own the technology, you lose out. You definitely lose out. The innovation jump is just so massive, it's not evolutionary. So if you don't have it, you are not kind of part of the game and will not have access to very disruptive, life-changing technologies. And I fear that looking at the world right now and how geopolitical quantum computing has already become, that this is a real danger, that we have certain regions which don't own the value chain in quantum and therefore get a lot of disadvantages. That's what I fear might happen. My hope is it will not happen, and we democratize it.
Perfect, thank you. I think we're about to end, so closing remarks, Rasmus.
Work with deep tech companies, work at deep tech companies, invest in deep tech companies, embrace deep tech companies, There's a lot of exciting stuff happening.
Just a lot of hard work, and excitement. Yeah, Markus. Please.
Yeah, that brings me to a completely different closing remark than I thought I would say. But look, I think, we thought the world is totally explored, right? There is no terra incognita left. But I think what we see, that the technological innovation is really speeding up. It has an exponential growth. A lot of terra incognita opens up, and as we are curious minds, as humans, I think that's great actually. So I'm looking with very great expectations into the future. Exponential technologies which exponentially speed up. That's a great thing I think which will come.
And this is all in the boundaries of our own planet, right? Before we go in somewhere else. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Reenie.
Yeah, so for me, I'm just so excited about the potential transformative effect on healthcare and on clinical research. Like right now, we solve problems in a very linear fashion. One drug, one target. Our bodies are quantum machines, right? They don't work that way. And this is going to help us discover who we are and how to treat our own diseases and control our own destiny much better. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, this is amazing. And I like the underlying theme of today's discussion is like, while we thought we're living in the binary world, right? Combination of ones and zero. I mean, it's all going to be quantum in the future. There's a beauty and complexity of interaction between, man and machine and, human intelligence, artificial intelligence. So thanks for sharing today. This is the most optimistic group of people I've ever discussed the future. And to all of you, thanks for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.